Let's go Dolphins! Things are abuzz behind the scenes, and in the spirit of the 2025 draft, we have some news for you. Many people won't like this, but it's the name that's been circulating for the last few hours. I'll tell you all the details, but first make sure you've hit the like button if you're a Miami Dolphins fan. If possible, comment something like, "Go Dolphins! This year we're going to make the playoffs." We know Stephen Ross has had an eye for athletic quarterbacks in the past. His fascination with Lamar Jackson during the draft process was well documented. But could history repeat itself this year? Could Ross be eyeing Alabama's Jalen Milroe as the next big thing in Miami? And if so, could he pressure Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel to pull the trigger on pick number 48? This isn't just speculation. Milroe has already had a formal meeting with the Dolphins, which means the interest is real. And when you think about Stephen Ross's history, it's not hard to imagine him sitting in that war room, looking everyone in the eye and saying, "I was right about Lamar. Trust me on this." That's the kind of leverage Ross has, and given Milroe's athleticism, it's not completely out of the question. Now, let's break it down. Jalen Milroe is expected to be the most athletic quarterback in this draft class. He'll test off the charts at the NFL Combine, and when he does, don't be surprised if his stock starts to skyrocket. We've seen it before, an athletic, raw, but potentially talented quarterback climbing the boards after the Combine. And if he somehow makes it to number 48, the Dolphins will have a decision to make. This situation has some eerie similarities to what happened with Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia. Wentz had just gotten paid, was coming off an MVP-level season before his injury, and then boom, Philly drafted Hurts in the second round. People questioned it. They said, "Why would you take a quarterback when you just locked up your franchise guy?" But look how that played out. The Eagles were prepared for the worst-case scenario, and when Wentz flamed out, they had their next man up. Could the Dolphins be thinking the same way with Tua Tagovailoa? Look, no one is saying Milroe is ready to step in and start right away. In fact, he's probably 2 years away from being a legitimate starting quarterback. This would be a Jordan Love type situation, where you draft a guy and stash him until he's ready. But if you're a team that has concerns about your starter's durability, isn't that exactly the kind of move you should be making? Milroe's skill set is tantalizing. He has the best pure arm strength in the class, paired with electric running ability. Right now, the only quarterback in the league with better rushing talent is Lamar Jackson. That's not an exaggeration. If you watched Alabama last season, you saw what he did to Georgia, a defense stacked with NFL talent. He put that Alabama offense on his back and carried them past one of the best teams in college football. But let's be real, he's not a finished product. His decision-making needs work. His accuracy is inconsistent, and he relies on his legs too much at times. Those are all valid concerns. But here's the thing. If you're drafting a quarterback in the second round, you're taking a chance on upside. You're betting on traits. And Milroe has traits that can't be taught. Now, the biggest question, would Mike McDaniel and Chris Grier actually do it? McDaniel has spent 2 years crafting this offense around Tua's strengths. It's a quick, timing-based system that emphasizes accuracy, pre-snap reads, and hitting receivers in stride. That is not Milroe's game. Milroe thrives in chaos. He's a backyard football player, one of those guys who can turn a broken play into a 50-yard touchdown run. So if Miami took him, they'd need to be willing to adjust their offensive philosophy. But what if McDaniel sees Milroe as a lump of clay, a guy he can mold into the perfect quarterback over the next 2 years? What if he looks at Milroe and says, with the right coaching, this guy could be special? We know McDaniel loves creative offensive weapons, and Milroe would give him something completely unique to work with. Imagine having a short yardage and red zone package built around Milroe's legs. The Dolphins struggled in those situations last year, and having a quarterback with his athleticism could be a game changer. The other factor here is how the rest of the draft plays out. If quarterbacks start flying off the board, if we see Jackson Dart, Shedeur Sanders, and Cam Ward go early, Milroe might end up being one of the last real developmental QBs left standing. And that could tempt teams in the late first round to trade back up and secure him with that valuable fifth-year option. Would Miami have the guts to pull the trigger? Or are they too committed to their current path with Tua? If they don't take him, someone else will. And that's the risk. If Milroe sits for 2 years and develops into a star somewhere else, people are going to look back and say, "Damn, Miami had the chance." So, Dolphins fans, I'll leave you with this. If Jalen Milroe is sitting there at 48, would you take him? Would you be willing to invest in the future at quarterback, even if it means sending a message to Tua? Or should Miami stay the course, build around their current roster, and hope for the best? Let me know what you think in the comments. In one of the most bizarre drug smuggling attempts in recent memory, a man was arrested in Colombia after authorities discovered over 220 grams of cocaine hidden beneath his toupee. The suspect was preparing to board a flight to Amsterdam when security officers became suspicious of his unusually high hairpiece. Video footage and images from the scene show the man visibly distressed as police uncover the drugs, which had been carefully concealed under his fake hair. As officers detained him, he could be seen crying, fully aware that his elaborate scheme had completely fallen apart. While drug trafficking attempts are unfortunately common, this particular method has left many people shocked and amused. The sheer audacity of hiding a significant amount of cocaine in a hairpiece raises plenty of questions. Most notably, what made him think he could actually get away with it? Airport security screenings are notoriously thorough, especially when dealing with flights to and from known drug trafficking hotspots like Colombia. Authorities say they were able to detect the contraband during routine security checks, and once they pinpointed the suspicious area, it didn't take long to confirm what was underneath the man's unusual hairstyle. According to reports, the man is now facing serious drug smuggling charges, though the exact legal consequences he will face in Colombia remain unclear. This incident has sparked a mix of reactions online, ranging from disbelief to humor. Many social media users have joked that they'll never look at a toupee the same way again, wondering if others might be using similar tricks to transport illegal substances. Desperate times often lead to desperate measures, but this attempt proves that not every plan is as foolproof as criminals might hope. In the end, security officials didn't just spot the drugs, they knew exactly where to look. What do you think about this wild story? Do you think the man actually believed he could fool security with his hairpiece stash? Let us know in the comments. As the world reacts to this jaw-dropping smuggling attempt, the fate of the man caught with 220 grams of cocaine under his toupee remains uncertain. Colombian authorities have yet to release his identity, but one thing is clear, he's in serious trouble. Colombia, known for its strict drug enforcement policies, does not take trafficking lightly. The penalties for smuggling cocaine can range from long prison sentences to hefty fines, depending on the circumstances. If convicted, this man could be looking at years behind bars, especially considering he was attempting to smuggle the drugs internationally. Amsterdam, his intended destination, also has strict drug laws when it comes to trafficking hard substances like cocaine. But let's talk about the sheer absurdity of his plan. Did he really think security wouldn't notice a bulging, uneven toupee on his head? Was this his first attempt, or had he successfully smuggled drugs this way before? These are questions authorities will likely be asking as they dig deeper into this case. What's even more baffling is the amount of cocaine he was trying to transport. Over 220 grams isn't exactly a small stash. It's a significant quantity that would be nearly impossible to keep hidden without raising suspicion. How was he planning to retrieve and distribute it once he arrived in Amsterdam? Did he have connections waiting for him there? The internet has been ruthless, with social media exploding with memes and jokes about toupee trafficking. Some are comparing his plan to a bad movie plot, while others are wondering if this will lead to increased airport security checks on anyone wearing a hairpiece. Could this incident set off a new wave of security paranoia, where every suspicious wig or toupee is now viewed as a potential drug mule? Let us know in the comments. Go Dolphins!